Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video we are going to work on the authentication. So we are going to create login and registration so we can register user to the authentication, and we are also going to create a users table. Okay, so let's get started with the Supabase database. All right, so here in the browser we are going to go to the dashboard, and then we are going to select the project. After that, once it's loaded, we are going to go to authentication. Actually, we are going to go to the, sorry, my bad, we're going to go to the table editor, and we are going to create a new table here. We're going to name it users, and description will be optional. Now we are going to disable row level security, as it's basically allows you to give access to certain users, like can they insert, can they delete from the table. So we are going to disable it and keep it as normal. Okay, and so we're going to confirm that, and we are not going to check it for real time, as we are not dealing with any real time data. Okay, okay, and then we come to here. The first column is the ID, sorry, the row, and then it's default, and then we created that. Now let's create another column, and let's name this name, and it's going to be text. Okay, and after that we're going to create another one, email, and another one. This will be the user ID. Okay, and this will be also string, but this one I am going to mark as primary. All right, and then we need membership status. Okay, this is also going to be a text for the bean, and that's all we need here for now. Okay, and if we need anything else, we can alter the table, and we'll hit save, and it should create our table. Now you notice I'm not storing the password here. If you want, you can, but the authentication actually take cares of the password. So if you want to reset the password with a forgot password button, you can do that as well. So we're not going to do that. So this is done. Now we will head back to Android Studio. Okay, so this is our project that we're working before. All right, so first we are going to get rid of all the boilerplate code here. So I'll just delete all of this. And we're also going to delete this. Let's rename this to membership tutorial. You can name it whatever you want. All right. And after that, we're going to go to the lib folder, and we're going to create a new folder. And let's name this screens. Inside this, we are going to create a new dot file, and let's call it auth page. Let's create a stateful widget, and we are going to name it auth page. Okay, so this will handle all of our login registration. Okay, so I'm going to run the Android emulator here so we can see the project while it's been built. Okay, I will run the app now. Make sure, oh, I forgot to do one thing. Actually, I need to put that here, auth page. Okay, so it's running now, and while this is loading and running, we can head back to the browser, and here we can go to home page and we can scroll down. You can see this, and there are client libraries here. We will go to the documentation of Flutter as we are working on Flutter. Okay, and you can see here there are a lot of documentation for fetching, insert, update data. Okay, and there's also for authentication. Now first we will look at the error codes here. So by default, in Supabase you can create only one user per email. So we will also going to take care of that. So we will check if the email exists, then we can say, hey, email user already exists with this email, try another one. Okay, as you can see here, there are a lot of error codes you can handle with this, but we are going to focus on just this one. All right, and if we go to the create new user, so this is how you're going to work with the function. So it has an auth response, Supabase sign up, email, password, and then we return a session and the user. Okay, and same goes for the login user. We have a function here, a method, sign in with the password, and we are going to provide the email and password. All right, so let's head back to Android Studio now. All right, so our project is loading now and it's empty. Of course, we have a placeholder here. Oh, actually it did not load. I think it crashed due to I forgot to put the home page here, so that's why it crashed. Okay, so now we can see the placeholder. Now we are going to quickly first create the UI here. So I will take a scaffold, an app bar with an app bar, and going to put a body. So we will use a column to put everything. And in the children's, first thing is a text field. We're going to type a text field, and here in the decoration we can say input decoration, and hint text we're going to say email. Okay, and then we're also going to create a controller field. Now if we come back here, we can create two controllers: final email controller, text editing controller, and final password controller, text editing controller. Okay, so now we can assign the controller here. All right, and it's asking for constant, we will give it here. Okay, so and I will also assign a prefix icon which is at the start, and we will say icons dot email. Okay, and this should do it. And let's save and see how it looks. Okay, it needs padding, so I'm going to give the column padding with 16, and I'm also going to say main axis alignment to center. This will put it into the center. After that, we are going to copy this text field and copy the text field, and we're going to put a size box here. Now I have created a shortcut to create size box. So if I just type SB, it will create a size box of 20. So after that, we're going to put the text field here, and this time we will say password, and we will change this one to password. All right, there's one more thing we need to do here. We need to make the text obscure text. That basically does is makes the password in asterisk. So if I type here something, it will be not visible, it will be stars. If I say this is false and I save it, and if I type now, as you can see, it's visible. So we'll make this true, and after that all we need is a button here. Okay, so we will create an elevated button, text will be login, and we will make this constant. All right. Okay, let's give some space here using size box. All right, so this is our login button. Okay, now I also want to create another button, and this time I'm going to wrap them into rows. And so I'm just going to copy this button and paste it here. And what I will say main axis alignment space evenly. What this will do, this will place both the buttons and it will place them here. But it doesn't look good. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a size box, and I'm going to change this height to width, and yeah, of course we need to make it in center. There you go. That looks better. And let's just call this one register. Okay. All right. So whenever on this button is clicked, it's going to register or login. All right. So we'll handle the functions now. Okay. So although I'm not using any text form field or anything like that, I'm just using normal this ones. Okay. So first we will work on the registration. So we will first we need a Supabase instance. So we are going to say final Supabase equals to Supabase and then instant and then client. After that we will say future void and we say register user, and we will mark this function as async because we are going to await. Okay, now if you come back to the browser, if you come to the create user, okay, and here it is. Let me just put this dark reader off. Okay, so there are many ways to create a user. Sign up with email and password, sign up with phone number and SMS, sign up with additional metadata. Basically you can pass username or name or anything that you want. Okay, and sign up with redirect URL. This is basically for if you want to sign up user with a redirect URL. So let's say click on the link and it can sign up. So we are going to use the email and password here, just the normal one. If you want, you can also choose this one, but I'm going to go with this one. Okay, so we will come back to the Android Studio now, and we will first put all the email and password text here in a variable. String email equals to email controller text, string password equals to password controller text. Okay, now then we are going to check this if they are empty. If not empty and password is also not empty, then we are going to write our function. Else we are going to create a scaffold show snack bar. We'll use this method to create a snack bar at the bottom here, and we'll say please fill all the details. Now if you come here, first we are going to call the auth function. So we'll say final auth response, and we will say response equals to await Supabase auth, and we will say sign up, and this will ask for password and email. So we have the password here, and we'll put a comma here, and we'll also provide the email here. Email will be going to be this email that we extracted from when the user inputted. Okay, after that we are going to create a session. Final session equals to response dot session. That's it. And since we are not going to add this user to the database, so what we are going to show for the user here, we are going to say if mounted. So, and we will say scaffold messenger, and we will type registered successfully. And we are also going to clear email controller and password controller. So our registration function is done now. This is what we have to do to sign up a user with email. Okay, now if we go down, we can just put here registration as I have already done. Okay, so you just call the function here, and that should call the registration now. Now let's create another one and then we will test them both. Let's get another future void, and actually I'm just going to copy this because they are quite similar. So I'm just going to copy and paste here, and I'll just change the name, login user, and we have to do the same thing, extract the text, and then we will check if they're not. Just we need to change one thing here. We need to sign in with password. That's what we have to change to sign in the user. Okay, and after that we will say logged in successfully, and rest stays the same. All right, so also we need to call the function here, login user. All right, let's hot reload now, and now we will test it. So first we will type an email. We will say a@a.com, something like that, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and first we will hit on register, and it says registration successful. Now we can also use an indicator here, a loading and everything, but I am going to use a state management library here. I'm going to use block, so I'm not going to implement that right now. We will do it in the next episode. We are going to use block for authentication. For the sake of simplicity for now, I'm just showing you a way where you don't, if you don't want to use a state management, you can also do it like this. Okay, so if we come back to our browser, okay, if we come here and we go to authentication, as you can see here, user is created with this email that we said, and yeah, so that's how you can create the user. There's also a user UID. So this is how you can create a user. And next we are going to go back to our Android Studio, and let's see if our login is working. So if I say a@a.com 1 2 3 4 5 6, and if I just say login now, and it says logged in successfully, and let's say if I create b@b.com 1 2 3 4 5 6, if I try to log in, let's see what happens, and nothing, and it probably should throw some error. Yeah, invalid login credentials. Since we are not handling the auth exception, let's do that as well. So here, when we say this, we are going to put this in a try block cage, in a try cage block, sorry. And okay, let's call this an error. Okay, so we will say show the scaffold messenger, and we are going to say, oh, it's constant, that's why it's not showing up. I think the argument object string, let's just call toString, and that's it. So this will now print the error, whatever it is. And let's just move all this code from here to our try block. And it's saying that don't use build context. So to fix this, we will use the mounted check if mounted, and then we will just cut this from here and paste it here. That should remove the warning. So it's now in the try block cage, Now if we get an error, let's log in again. Okay, as you can see, auth exception, invalid login credentials. All right, so let's do that same for the registration page. I will just cut this and I will put a try catch block error, and if mounted, then scaffold messenger, and we will just say error and dot toString. Okay, let's just remove the constant from here and we will paste this here. So now we can catch any authentication errors. All right, so that's how you implement it. Now next thing, we want to add everything to our database. So if we come back to here, we go back to users table, we want to add the user here. Okay, so if we head back to the documentation and if we go here insert table, okay, as you can see, the function is await from insert, and then we insert a map which will have all the things. Okay, so we will go back to Android Studio now. So as soon as we register the user here, once the user is successfully registered, what I'm going to do, I'm going to call await Supabase, and we're going to say from, and this is requiring me to give the table name. So our table name was users, and then it will say, I can then here insert this function. Now it takes a map, so we are going to provide it a map, and first is email, and we're going to put email here, and next one will be, let's check our table here, and let's see. Okay, so we have a user ID and we have a name and we have email and membership status. Okay, so we are going to put that. Okay, so let's go back to our Android Studio, and we will say the user ID, which will be from our response dot user dot id. This will basically give us this ID. If we come back to our browser and we go to authentication, in this UID we will get this, so it's 7A1E, so we will get that. Now we come back to Android Studio and let's see what this error says. It says, so we will just need to make sure it's null checked, and here I think, there you go, so it's just checking for null. So once we did all that, and next thing we need to put membership. Now membership status, and you need to just make sure what you're writing is written in the table. Okay, and for the membership status we are going to say active for the time being, and that's all we need to send. Now if we call the function again, it will just say this, and we can just put it in its own function as well. We will say future void, and we will say add user, and we can just do like that, extract it from here, and we will say wait. Now it requires string email, string password. Okay, and it also requires a response, Response is of a type auth response, so we can say auth response, and we'll say response. There you go. That should fix all the errors. Now all we have to do, you have to call that function add user, and we will provide all of that like that. Okay, so now let's create a new user. So we have already put in this one, so I'll just do a hard reload and I will hit register now, and it says registration successful. Now let's go back to our browser here and let's check if it was added to the table. And if you come to users table, there you go. We have the ID, we have the email, and the membership status, which is active. Now I want to fix one more thing for the membership status. I want to make it drop down. So if we come to here and if we go to table editor, and I think it's somewhere in the database. Yes, we will go to enumerator types and we're going to create an enumerator and we will call it membership. Okay, membership type, and let's add some values here. We will say active, and we will say inactive, and we will say pending. Now you can look this as, so if the user has purchased a membership, and then it will be active, and if the user has not doesn't have a membership, then it will be inactive. And if the user payment is pending, then you can just put it on the pending, and you can update that later manually or using a script. Okay, so we will you can also add as many as you want, like guest or anything like that. So yeah, or trial version, something like that, you can do that too here. And then we will say create type, and that created over here. And now if we go back to the tables, sorry, here table editor, and we just go to our tables users, and if I come here and if I click here and say edit column, we can change the type to our membership type. Now if we change that to, the default value should be null, we hit save. After that we come here, and now if you go, as you can see, it is in drop down. So yeah, that's all. If we come back to Android Studio, so we are added the user to the table, we put all the authentication and everything. Now in the next video we are going to work on sending the user to the home page, and we are also going to check if the user is already logged in. So let's say if you close the app and if you come back, it will send you to the login page because the app doesn't know that you're already logged in, so it will continuously asking you for logging in. So to fix that, we are going to check on the home page if the user is logged in or not. If the user is not logged in, we are going to send them back to the login page. Okay, so we will do that, and we will also add block state management library. Okay, so we are going to put all this authentication in block, so we have a better control over what happens. And we're also going to hide all the business logic, and we are just going to present the UI for the user. Okay, and we also are going to add the loading circular progress indicator and everything like that. Okay, so I'll see you in the next one.